Now, the pink elephant in the room, and a pink elephant you can't miss unless you just purposely look the other way. And you damn near got to turn all the way around to not see any part of a pink elephant. That's how egregious somebody who's not acknowledging the reality upon us. So the pink elephant in the room is Joseph Biden's clear fragility in mental dementia or degradation. Clear. He does not represent a man of physical nor mental strength, does he? His failing health was known before he was urged to enter the presidential race. And people have put together bloopers on YouTube that's getting hundreds of thousands of views of a man who is clearly sick mentally. Now, just the other day, a blooper of him mentioning George as he was running against some George. So people want to know, was it George Washington or George Bush? His wife is standing beside him while he's gibberishing, if that's a word. I just made it up. I know gibberish is one, but that is what was coming out of the man's mouth. And his wife is next to him. She looking all embarrassed. Well, why you have your sick husband up there running for a presidency you know he's unfit for? I mean, it's just bizarre. What CEO or what corporation would hire a CEO to run their company if they knew that CEO or the prospect was mentally ill and physically unfit? Who would hire somebody like that to run a major corporation, since that's what the United States is? I mean, the Democratic Party, you are pathetic. And that right there shows that you don't give a damn about the American people. And it also shows that you are in the grip of the synagogue of Satan. And the nerve of former President Obama to go out. You're a former president. You got to pick up the campaign trail for a man because he's unfit to go on one himself. So they're going to bury him in a basement until the election while you, as a jigaboo acting somebody, that's how you're acting. You want to go out and campaign for Joe Biden when you know he's mentally deranged, or ill rather. You worked with him for 8 years. You saw it coming. You know why he didn't pick up and run right after you left office. Just goddamn pathetic. With friends like that, Joseph Biden don't need enemies. So the talk among people this last year, or since he did the 11th hour entry into the presidential race, is that he will be unable to finish a 4-year term. Again, who hires a CEO knowing that he can't finish or do the job? I can understand your hatred for President Trump, but I think it is a disgrace in the eyes of the world to see such a level of desperation like that. Well, some people have indicated, again, that Kamala Harris may pick up the leadership of the United States if Joseph Biden wins, but cannot complete the presidential term. He's unfit now. Now he's unfit. But anyway, that Kamala Harris may pick up the leadership, that's far-fetched. Why? Well, how will any of us know that Joseph Biden is mentally incapacitated in his, to do his duties as president should he win? The synagogue of Satan can just put him in the basement where he is now, while others guide the United States. Well, who are these others who will be Biden's cabinet members, and where do they intend to guide the United States? Now, that's a big question. Now, President Trump, he raised that question about Joseph Biden's cabinet. And, what are some of the people that's being mentioned in his upcoming cabinet should he win? We know who Donald Trump's cabinet is. See, that's the secrecy that's going on right now behind a man that was pulled from his retirement because he is ill. Now you want to not cover some of the direct questions that need to be asked. So those are big questions. Who will be guiding the United States when Joseph Biden is deemed incapacitated, or who will guide the United States because he's incapacitated now, should he win? Well, let's return to the article that we just been citing from. It states, if they do manage to remove Trump by any means necessary, quote, and Joe Biden takes the helm, we can anticipate a bevy of globalist warmonger appointees that make Trump's team look like disciples of Mahatma Gandhi. Among the names floated, like Nicholas Burns, Anthony Blinken, Michelle Flournoy, Evelyn Farkas, and Anne-Marie Slaughter, all were on board with Bosnia, talking about the war, Kosovo, the destruction of Iraq, the destruction of Libya, the destruction of the Ukraine, and the destruction of Syria. Note, the Atlantic Council, known as NATO's semi-official think tank in Washington, and which will be instrumental in staffing a future Joe Biden administration, also has been the beneficiary of generous donations from Hunter Biden's paymaster, Burisma. So it's a recipe for wars, regime changes, and color revolutions galore. Now, why don't you, before you call this fake news, go deeper and investigate who's lurking around Joseph Biden? Who's going to be pulling the strings to govern the United States, since he can't do it today and won't be able to do it tomorrow if he's elected? Look at these names and the others that's hanging around now, waiting to take advantage of an ill man and take this country into a direction that warmongers take nations in. So does Joe Biden's anticipated tax hike have anything to do with funding the upcoming wars? Why should you hike taxes and President Trump didn't? What are you funding or desirous of funding? Does Joseph Biden's aim to disarm U.S. citizens have anything to do with lessening the backlash of patriotic Americans against the satanic warmongers? So now all you can do is have a little pop gun and pick up some stones and some bricks and throw it at those who are now suppressing U.S. citizens. So they don't want you to have heavy duty armament to combat them. Well, I'm glad to know that there's some people of intelligence that's not falling for that foolishness and those goddamn lies. So intense evil and diabolical secrecy is all over Joseph Biden's campaign. You know it's the truth.